Hi guys, after yesterday's rant I wanted to do another video about Xbox customer service and the Xbox One controller. I'm still not happy with Microsoft, as you may well expect, but I've got a little bit more perspective on it today, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit more in a slightly more balanced way. So anyway, those of you who've seen my video from yesterday know that I was given the runaround by Xbox customer support following an offer of a replacement controller, despite the fact that my controller was out of warranty. I won't go over everything that I covered yesterday, but needless to say, it wasn't the best experience. Now, obviously, looking back on it, the first guy made a mistake. He should never have offered me the controller in the first place. However, that's not my problem. And, you know, I have to stress again that I wasn't expecting a replacement controller. But once offered, you know, if you're offered something by a company, I covered this a little bit yesterday, if you're offered something by a company, they can't then backtrack after the fact. So that's a little bit irritating. It's also... you know, it's a small example of a wider issue with a lot of these large companies where the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. The people at the front end of things like customer service have no real control or no real power, and they're put in a position where, you know, they're almost penalised for offering the service that they're there to provide. You know, that even the term customer has fallen by the wayside, and it's been replaced by consumer. You know, nobody ever heard the term, the consumer's always right. The customer's always right, yeah, but the consumer? As consumers, we're just expected to buy the product and keep buying the product and keep giving them our money, and, you know, it just gets worse. I'm hoping to do a little video later on at some point about DLC and season passes, and that's another example of the way companies will keep taking the mickey out of us if we continue to put up with this kind of attitude from them. You know, and let me be clear, I think Microsoft have made huge strides. I think things have improved massively, and I think this is a one-off. I don't think this is a big deal in itself, but, you know, I do think it reflects certain attitudes and processes within things like customer service in these large companies where people just don't know what's going on a lot of the time. And you know, the service providers, if you like, the people at the front end, are almost slaves to computer systems. You know, I was told during the conversation that I had yesterday that there was no issue with Xbox One controllers as well, because I brought up, you know, that maybe that was the case. So I had a look around on the net, and I found that there's been many stories of worn and broken controllers with the Xbox One. You know, it seems to be a fairly large issue. In fact, one site, and I'll provide a link to that, even did a survey, and it found that 18% of the recipients found that the left stick had begun to grind in the shell. Well, that's a big deal. The controller that I had the issue with drifting does that as well. It makes a horrible grunching noise, and you can feel it under your thumb. It feels like it's shifting about without actually, you know, having any proper movement. It's very uncomfortable, not very pleasant at all. You know, and also the controller that was sent out to me to replace my day one controller that broke quite rapidly is also showing signs of wear and tear, and not normal wear and tear either. It's starting to have like the sort of grey powdery effect around it, where it seems to be graunching in the shell. So it does seem to me that there's an issue here, and Microsoft need to address this. They had big issues with the Xbox 360, and, you know, to be fair to them, they dealt with it quite well in the end. I had some awful experiences with that, and had to make a complete nuisance of myself with them in order to get some replacements sent out to me, because at one point they sent out a replacement and the replacement itself was broken, and then they were telling me I was going to have to wait 6 weeks or whatever for another replacement, which was ridiculous. But anyway, that's another story. That's in the past. Now, where the controllers are concerned, obviously they're releasing a new controller, or they may even have released another controller. I haven't checked that yet. So some of these quality controls may have already been addressed, and I hope they have been, but I simply don't know at this stage. And that's a problem for me, because I was going to buy an Elite controller, And so that's not only a problem for me, that's a problem for Microsoft, because I'm not going to buy one. I'm not going to buy an Elite controller until I'm absolutely certain that the quality control issues have been addressed. So, I have to say, just come on, Microsoft. The 360 controller is a great controller, still a great controller. It was incredibly well made, incredibly robust. But I have to say the Xbox One controller, in my experience and from looking online, doesn't seem to be as robust. And, customer services response and Microsoft's response doesn't seem to be adequate. So, I have to say, if this is how you're going to treat your customers going forward, I really feel sorry for Phil Spencer. There's him out there busily trying to restore confidence. He's done interviews where he said, he's more interested in restoring confidence than he is in competing with Sony. And, good for him. I think that's a great attitude. But that attitude needs to percolate down to customer service and, more broadly across Xbox. Because at the moment, while he's trying to restore customer confidence, Microsoft, or Xbox I should say, Xbox CS, or customer service, is busily shooting themselves and him in the foot. So come on Microsoft, get your act together, sort yourselves out, do Phil Spencer and do your customers a favour, because I'm pretty certain there's probably other people out there experiencing similar issues. Well, I know there are people out there experiencing issues with the controller, because you can see it if you go and you look at that survey that I'm going to put the link onto. Anyway, I suppose that's all I've got to say. I'm a bit disappointed. I was quite stoked about the Xbox One, and running up to Christmas, it's looking like it's on a bit of a roll, and this just threw a spanner in the works. Okay, I'll speak to you guys again soon. Bye.